Farms are usually known for their common sights of farm animals and crops, sometimes broken up by an empty field. But every now and then, really surprising and puzzling things are found there. From crop circles to rat kings, here are 20 scary things discovered on farms. Number 20. Creepy goat walking upright. There are a lot of things that we can find creepy. Take, for instance, an animal that's not acting itself. Now, let me ask you, have you heard about skinwalkers in Navajo culture? They're witches who can turn into animals to disguise themselves. When they do, they might exhibit human-like behavior, just like what this goat is doing. Seeing your dog walking on its hind legs slowly across the kitchen at night is already a creepy thing to see. Goats don't exactly have a good reputation because of their association with the devil, and this one goat's behavior just made these animals a lot creepier. This goat was spotted walking across a dirt road in a small village. People online were spooked by its behavior. There were claims that the goat was merely taught by the villagers to walk on its hind legs. There's also the possibility that the goat was born with a physical mutation, which made it unable to properly walk on all fours, leading to this creepy behavior. Regardless of the reason, this goat is definitely nightmare material. Number 19. Mysterious crop circle. You've most likely heard about crop circles. If you haven't yet, let me tell you about them. Basically speaking, crop circles are massive patterns created by flattening a crop such as wheat, barley, rye, or maize. Despite their name, these patterns can range from simple circles and rings to incredibly complex geometrical figures that span hundreds of feet in diameter. The precision is so remarkable it often seems impossible for humans to have done it, especially overnight and without leaving a trace. Upon seeing a crop circle for the first time, trust me, you'll find it hard to believe that it's actually something created by humans. For this reason, many believe that rather than being created by people, crop circles are, well, alien. These crop circles have appeared worldwide, but in recent years, Southwest England found itself the center of the most outlandish and intricate crop circles that baffled locals and farmers. After all, if you've been tending an open, barren field the entire day and suddenly find a pattern that seemingly appeared out of nowhere, you'd freak out. Some believe that crop circles aren't simply artistic creations but rather marks created by Earth itself or perhaps the target for extraterrestrial weaponry. These are all far-fetched claims, but these theories continue to be believed by many. Although it's unimaginable that such a creation is done by people, there's a possibility that ordinary humans indeed create crop circles. After all, Japanese rice paddy art, or tambo art, exists. This rice paddy art began in 1993. Faced with a declining population and economy, people of the small village in Inakadate in Aomori Prefecture resorted to creating this art to attract more tourists, and it worked. Today, many continue to visit the village to see this massive art piece. Now, the only difference between crop circles and rice paddy art is the fact that the latter doesn't appear overnight. So, alien creations or man-made art. I'll let you be the judge of that. Number 18. Modern scarecrows with lasers. Imagine walking along a farm, and you suddenly see a laser beam on your body. I don't know about you, but my immediate response would be to duck and take cover. Turns out, however, that for some farms in the world, it's normal to have lasers shining around. Farmers have long battled with birds that damage crops, and traditional scarecrows don't cut it anymore. That's why even scarecrows got their own upgrade. Modern scarecrows use lasers as a high-tech deterrent. These devices emit green laser beams that sweep across the fields, creating a visual barrier that birds avoid because they perceive it as a physical threat, similar to an approaching predator. The technology behind these laser scarecrows is quite advanced. Systems like the AgriLaser Autonomic Mark I are being used across various farms to protect a range of crops by projecting unsettling patterns of green lasers across the fields. So far, there are nothing but good reviews about this device. One of the farms that uses them claimed that the lasers have saved them around 262,525 pounds of blueberries from being eaten by hungry birds. In terms of money, the laser saved them around $9,733. Number 17. Giant armadillos of the past. If you look at an armadillo, it's easy to say that nothing is intimidating about it, but what if you came face to face with an armadillo the size of a Volkswagen? Sounds terrifying, right? The remains of this colossal beast are what a farmer in Argentina discovered in his field one day. Osvaldo was taking his cows for a graze when he spotted the bizarre rocks in the river. Thinking that it was some special stone, one decided to investigate further and realized that rather than stones, he had discovered shells, several of them. After establishing that he had stumbled upon shells left behind by creatures he didn't know about, he quickly alerted local authorities and archaeologists. It turned out that he had discovered the remains of Glyptodon. Armadillos by nature have bony shells that are part of their skeleton, serving as armor against predators, but nothing in the modern world grows that big. In the prehistoric period, however, there were creatures with shells like armadillos but grew up to the size of a Volkswagen Beetle Glyptodon. These armadillo-like creatures had massive armored domes on their backs, protecting their bulky bodies. The largest among them measured up to 10 feet long and weighed over a ton. Their diet? Plants. Just because they were herbivores didn't mean they weren't terrifying. They were big, and their shells could withstand almost anything. Then again, these guys went extinct thanks to early humans figuring out their weakness was their soft belly. They were slow-moving, and they had an ample amount of meat. Their shells also served as cozy temporary shelters against the wind, rain, and snow. There was no predator scarier than man. Number 16. Mystery safe in New York. Kirk Mathis was away from his farm in 2020 when he received a phone call about a mysterious safe in one of his fields near the town of Barr, New York. A safe is usually seen as something precious, and so authorities immediately arrived at the scene to disperse the crowd that had gathered in the field to take a look at the oddity. The safe weighed between 500 and 600 pounds, and it also looked quite old, with its exterior covered in rust. Its rundown appearance didn't stop locals from speculating that something precious was inside it. However, eventually the safe was moved to a barn for safekeeping. Upon returning to his farm, Kirk Mathis received a lot of requests to have the safe opened, but instead of opening it, he decided to keep its contents a mystery. The safe has become a local legend, stirring up all sorts of theories. Some believe that the safe contains nothing, while some believed that it includes something insignificant. There were also those who believed that the safe actually contains valuable jewels. Unfortunately, we still don't know what happened to the safe or if it was ever opened. Mathis has even mentioned the possibility of donating the safe to a local history museum, making it a permanent piece of Barr's mysterious lore. Some speculate that Mathis might end up having the safe opened in secret. After all, if it did contain something valuable, having its contents exposed to the public would warrant unwanted attention. Number 15. 230-million-year-old reptile discovery. In 2023, another farmer was floored when the remains of a creature with long, scissor-like claws were discovered on his property in southern Brazil. Had it been alive today, Venatoraptor gomesi would have been among the most ferocious reptiles roaming our planet. This creature lived about 230 million years ago during the Triassic period and was known for its long, raptor-like beak and scimitar-like claws. The fossils discovered in the Rio Grande do Sul farm were the largest ever discovered of the species, making it an unprecedented find. In fact, this species led to an understanding of these sharp-clawed creatures. Now, who knows just what other bizarre remains lurk in fields across the world? Number 14. Ancient Viking ship unearthed in Norway. Now here's a discovery that's more astounding than terrifying. In 2019, researchers were fortunate to discover a 1,000-year-old Viking ship buried on a Norwegian farm. You see, if it weren't for luck and technology, this treasure would have remained buried. The ship was discovered on the island of Smala in Norway. This Viking ship, found just beneath the surface, measured 56 feet long. Using modern technology, researchers noticed that the ship's burial mound had been plowed throughout the centuries, filling its surrounding ditch with soil, which is typical for grave mounds. This aided the georadar technology, as the moist, loose soil provided clearer images, allowing archaeologists to see the ship's shape, encircled by what was left of the mound. Experts believe the ship dates back to Norway's Merovingian or Viking period, and while centuries of farming have damaged much of the ship's fore and stern, the entire ship burial is still an incredible find. Number 13. $100,000 meteorite used as doorstop. For over 30 years, this 22-pound stone served as a doorstop on a Michigan farm. It would have remained a doorstop for decades if not for the man who purchased the farm in 1988. After noticing that the doorstop looked and felt different, he brought the space rock to Central Michigan University for examination. It was then that Mona Serbescu, a geology professor at CMU, confirmed that the rock was indeed not an ordinary one, but rather a chunk of meteorite. She even claimed that the meteorite was the 6th largest recorded found in the state and valued at about $100,000. If you have any suspicious-looking stones around your house being used as a doorstop, you might want to check it out just in case. You're one of the people lucky enough to stumble upon something valuable. Can you imagine finding something so valuable just lying around? What would you do if you found a meteorite? I'm a sentimental person. Having something from outer space displayed in my home would be cool, but let's face it, selling it would always be the way to go. Number 12. World's wooliest sheep found. It's common knowledge that sheep need humans to survive, or at least most sheep breeds. Without guard dogs and humans to protect them, these creatures are susceptible to predation. Moreover, they also need humans to trim and shave their wool, Otherwise, something like this might happen. You're looking at Sean the sheep. This one got lost in the Tasmanian wilderness until it was found by a couple, Peter and Nettie Hazel. The 6-year-old merino ram had a staggering 44 pounds of fleece, making it almost unable to move freely on its own. It's hard to imagine, but this sheep hadn't been shorn for 6 years and was carrying around half a meter of wool. It turned out that the sheep had trekked more than 25 miles from his previous home, managing to evade shearers and survive the wild all this time. The Hazels described the moment they found Sean, noting that his wool was so thick and overgrown it covered his eyes, making him easy to approach and rescue. The sheer amount of fleece amazed everyone, and it was no small feat lifting him due to the extra weight. Now, you're probably wondering, if sheep won't survive without being shorn, how did sheep survive in the wild without humans? Quite simple. There were many breeds of sheep, and it just so happened that we bred most of them to grow more wool for our benefit. Sheep breeds in the wild didn't produce as much wool, just enough to keep themselves comfortable in the wild. The more you know. Number 11. Sapling growing rat in India. In 2018, a farmer was stumped when he found a moving sapling, and by moving, I mean walking. As it turned out, the said sapling was growing out of a small rat's back. Yes, you heard that right. This rat, that seems like something out of a cartoon, is actually real. A farmer discovered this bizarre creature in a field in India. But how did such a curiosity happen? Experts claimed that a soybean seed probably fell into the exposed flesh of the animal and germinated. The locals who found the animal, luckily, rescued the poor rodent by removing the sapling safely. Had it not been discovered, the rat most likely wouldn't have lived for long due to the burden brought by the sapling. Number 10. 34,000-year-old Mastadon Discovery. An Iowa teen had a serendipitous discovery while casually looking for arrowheads on a friend's farm. Instead of arrowheads, he stumbled upon a 34,000-year-old mastodon jawbone. The jawbone, which measures an impressive 30 inches, belonged to a juvenile mastodon believed to have stood about 7 feet tall. The teenager claimed that he spotted part of the bone sticking out of the nearby creek, and realizing what it might have been, he immediately alerted the adults, who later contacted experts from the University of Iowa's Paleontology Repository for further examination. The experts there were thrilled, as the bone was in great condition and still retained much of its original qualities, a rarity for such ancient finds. This discovery not only provided invaluable insights into the Ice Age fauna of North America, but also highlighted the significance of the area in terms of archaeological and paleontological research. The find has sparked increased interest in the local community, with more people now eager to learn about and participate in archaeological activities. It has also led to further investigations in the area, with experts hopeful of uncovering more remnants that could provide a clearer picture of the region's prehistoric ecosystem. The mastodon jawbone is set to undergo a series of tests and conservation efforts that will help determine more details about the animal's life and environment thousands of years ago. Number 9. Egg within an egg. I don't know about you, but if I find an enormous egg the size of my hand in my chicken's batch of eggs, I'd probably be skeptical to open it. I don't want to see a possibly deformed chick. Thank you very much. In 2018, a farmer in Queensland, Australia, had such an encounter. While monitoring his farm, he found a huge egg, almost 3 times the size of a normal one, weighing about 176 grams. For reference, an average egg only weighs about 58 grams. You won't believe what he found inside. Within the egg wasn't a live chick, but rather another egg. It's an egg within an egg. Quite baffling indeed. Authorities and experts claimed that the egg within the egg was safe for consumption, but personally I wouldn't have eaten the egg, just because of how rare it was. Number 8. The Green Men of Hopkinsville. On August 21, 1955, the small town of Kelly near Hopkinsville, Kentucky, became the center of what would soon be known as one of the most renowned extraterrestrial encounters, the Green Men of Hopkinsville. This encounter was shared by the Sutton family, who, along with a friend, spent a regular evening at their farmhouse when they were suddenly disturbed by otherworldly beings. The friend, Billy Ray Taylor, claimed he noticed a strange glowing object in the sky that descended nearby. His words were followed by the family dog barking furiously outside, prompting the men to investigate further. When the adults stepped outside, they were welcomed by small humanoid creatures around 3.5 feet tall, with oversized heads and glowing eyes. These beings seemed otherworldly, with an eerie glow and metallic bodies that reflected the light. Descriptions of these creatures today also claimed that they're immune to bullets and other weapons. Throughout the night, these little green men repeatedly approached the farmhouse, only to retreat and then come back again. The Suttons, genuinely terrified, eventually fled to the local police station seeking help. The police, along with state troopers and a photographer, visited the farmhouse but found no evidence of a conventional invasion. No footprints, no traces, just some casings and holes on the ground. Today, many believe that, rather than aliens or creatures from another planet, what the Suttons encountered were great horned owls. Even so, it seems impossible for an entire family to misidentify birds as aliens. This leads many to still believe the Sutton family's original narrative. Number 7. Hidden treasure. Classic cars discovered. In 2023, explorers discovered quite an astonishing find on an abandoned farm, an incredibly valuable collection of cars. The collection included a 1966 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray, a 1960 Cadillac Coupe de Ville, a 1985 Porsche 911 3.2 Carrera, and a 1996 Aston Martin DB7 Coupe. These are already a car collector's dream, but other beloved models, including Jaguar XKR, Lotus Elan, and Mercedes units, were also discovered on the abandoned farm. However, the most astounding is the 8-wheeled Crayford Argo. This vehicle is among the most versatile vehicles ever produced, with its amphibious engine. This vehicle was built to go anywhere, from rough roads to muddy terrain. Originally designed to power through boggy ground and deep snow, this vehicle can also adapt and drive through streams and small lakes without requiring expensive repairs. Overall, the entire collection would most likely fetch over £120,000 or about $149,000 in today's money. You're probably thinking that this is a small amount for over 20 prized vehicles, but the worth of each car would only skyrocket after getting repairs and modifications. Well, I'm sure car enthusiasts out there would know. Number 6. Mammoth discovery in Michigan. In 2023, a farmer in Michigan harvested something big and unexpected, an enormous 30-foot-long bone while trying to install a drainage pipe. Farmer James Bristle's backhoe hit something massive. Initially thinking it was just an old fence post, he quickly realized that it was something far more historic, a mammoth pelvis. James initially mistook the bone for cow bone, but after ultimately raising the bone out of the mud, he quickly realized that it belonged to a creature that was larger than a cow, much larger. Upon realizing this, he quickly contacted archaeologists from the University of Michigan, led by paleontologist Daniel Fisher. A team of experts immediately rushed to the scene and discovered about 20% of the mammoth skeleton, including the skull, tusks, and numerous other bones. It's fascinating to imagine that the remains of a creature that lived a staggering 11,700 to 15,000 years ago were found on your property. Subsequent exploration of the site also revealed ample human activity in the area thousands of years ago, which unfortunately showed the poor mammoth's final moments. Experts believe that early humans might have butchered and stored the mammoth meat, possibly submerging it in a pond to preserve it for later use. They never did get to retrieve the rest of the mammoth, and now the carcass is nothing more than remnants of the past. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. A man finds an old buried chain on a farm and pulls up something incredible. While surveying a plot of land he was yet to till, the farmer discovered a chain sticking out from beneath the ground. When he pulled, he was astonished by what was at the end of the chain. It was a chariot. Yes, you heard that right. By the looks of it, the chariot seemed ancient, reminiscent of those used in the Iron Age. Refusing to let experts take a look at the chariot, it's unconfirmed whether it truly is a piece of history or just a misplaced prop. Could it be that the man discovered something else that he's refusing to reveal? We can only speculate. Number 5. Kentucky Cornfield Gold Coin Discovery. An unidentified man hit the jackpot when he stumbled upon a cache containing over 700 gold coins in a cornfield in Kentucky in 2023. These coins are believed to date back from between 1840 and 1863. Experts claim that it's a mix of $1 gold Indians, $10, $20 gold Liberty coins, including some extremely rare 1863 gold Liberty Double Eagles, a coin so scarce it's celebrated among collectors. Now, we all know just how pricey these collector items can get. Each coin is a piece of history, representing the economy, craftsmanship, and the turbulent times of mid-19th century America. The specifics of the coin burial were left unknown, perhaps to protect the hoard and the individual who found it. Historians believe the hoard was most likely hidden before the conflict arrived in Kentucky, leading to its preservation. It's estimated that the hoard would fetch up to $1 million. The terrifying part of this discovery? Finders don't always get to keep what they find, and it's most likely that the unidentified man would have to go through several lengthy legal processes to get his reward for locating the cache. Number 4. Rediscovery of an extinct marsupial. Just last year, a farmer was stumped when he caught an animal that was assumed to have been extinct for more than a century. This is the story of farmer Frank Poinsai. One morning, he heard a commotion in his chicken coop. He rushed out, expecting to execute a fox or a stray cat, but instead, he stumbled upon a fanged beast baring its teeth. It turned out that the said intruder was a spotted-tailed quoll, also known as the tiger quoll, a creature assumed extinct in South Australia for over 100 years. The spotted-tailed quoll is a fierce little marsupial known for its distinctive white spots and, unfortunately, its rarity. This species is the largest native carnivore left on the Australian mainland and has been severely impacted by habitat loss, predation, and competition from invasive species like cats and foxes. For over a century, there had been no confirmed sightings of this creature in the region, until this sighting. Luckily, Frank did the right thing. He captured the animal and contacted wildlife officials to let them handle the case of this historic animal. Number 3. Dutch family's decade of isolation. The world is terrifying, there's no doubt about that. Every day, we face uncertainty, and that's just the thing about life. It's a blessing and a curse. Uncertainty means possibility, and possibilities may lead to opportunities. This makes life worth living. However, this family seemed to have chosen to live longer instead of living fuller. In 2019, the internet was baffled when news about a Dutch family came out. For 9 long years, this family lived in isolation on their secluded farm, away from any other villages. For an unbelievable 9 years, this family, consisting of a father and his 6 adult children aged between 18 and 25, lived hidden away in the basement of a remote farmhouse. They were completely cut off from the outside world, with some younger members unaware that other people existed. Their sustenance came from a small vegetable garden and a goat. I can't even begin to imagine just how difficult this was. What's more unsettling is the fact that if the eldest son of the family hadn't managed to get out, they probably would have remained in isolation for far longer. The news broke out when the eldest son, in a state of confusion, left the farm and entered a local pub. After mingling and drinking, he revealed their story to the bar owner. Concerned by what he heard, the bar owner immediately alerted authorities, which led to the discovery of the family's living situation. Upon arriving at the isolated farm, they found the family members in a secret staircase behind a cupboard. The father, who had suffered a stroke and was bedridden, was found along with the children. It was later found that the mother had passed away years before, and some of the children had not been officially registered at birth. Now, I know there are a lot of shady things about this family's case, leading it to be one of the most unsettling news stories of 2019. Number 2. Rat King, a terrifying phenomenon. I don't know about you, but rats are pretty terrifying. Sure, they're occasionally cute, but most of the time they aren't. What's scarier than a single big rat? A rat king. If you haven't heard about a rat king yet, well, prepare to be horrified. A rat king isn't about an alpha rat that leads the pack, but rather a macabre occurrence that experts have yet to explain. Rat kings are several rats whose tails become intertwined, effectively binding them together into a single entity. Initially, the term has German origins that historically referred to parasitic behavior, likening certain humans to rats that live off others. The phenomenon itself, though, is something straight out of a nightmare. Rat kings have been documented as early as 1564. Most specimens are kept in museums throughout Europe, but the largest ever found is stored in Mauritianum in Altenburg, Germany. Even though this is a well-known phenomenon, a Russian farmer was still surprised when he discovered multiple rodents entangled by their tails on his farm. To this day, scientists are still unsure whether rat kings are a natural phenomenon or a man-made hoax. Considering they've been happening in different parts of the world throughout history, it seems that rather than a sick prank by a mischievous person, rat kings happen due to something rats do that we have yet to observe. Some believe that during cold seasons, rats might huddle together for warmth, leading their oily, sebum-coated tails to stick together and become knotted. The theory is somewhat supported by similar instances involving squirrels, known as squirrel kings, where tree sap causes their tails to stick together and get tangled. I guess you're not safe anywhere on the planet. Number 1. Mutant calf with human-like features. The idea of half-human, half-animal creatures has long fascinated us. Fiction has led us to believe that a man having the abilities and features of wild animals would be cool, but in reality, the idea is just downright unsettling. A farm in the village of Villa Ana in the northern province of Santa Fe, Argentina, was expecting a young calf in 2019, but instead of a healthy young animal, their cow gave birth to something more sinister-looking. Instead of a cute calf, what welcomed the local farmhand was a cow with the face of a person. It had 2 eyes on top of what seemed like its nose, and a mouth. Its entire face made it look human-like. Locals were baffled by the creature. While some were horrified by its appearance, others believed that the young animal was a blessing. Before people could speculate more about the animal, however, the mutant calf perished, only lasting for a couple of hours before taking its last breath. Now, I don't know about you, but looking at its forward-facing eyes makes it quite creepy to look at. If I saw this creature in a barn, I'd definitely be spooked. How terrifying things are everywhere. But which of these things did you find the most terrifying? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Also check out our other cool videos showing up on the screen right now, and I'll see you in the next video.